Anakin Skywalker was a victim. When he became Darth Vader, none of it was really his fault. Darth Vader was the creation of the Jedi and Palpatine. I know, another Star Wars video, but since we're through with the dumpster fire known as the sequel trilogy, all I really have left to say are positive things about the series. Except for maybe some negatives, but to be honest, this video, all it's doing is supporting the prequel trilogy. And yes, I am your stereotypical prequel memer. We're bashing the Jedi for being idiots, and we'll also talk about Anakin Skywalker a little bit. Here's the thing though, I'm not bashing how the Jedi are written. They're written fine, they're definitely good, like, they're good characters, they're written really well. But it's kind of like, we're kind of like calling out the fact that like the Jedi are just not really good. We're calling out the flaws of the Jedi, how they're not perfect people. Anyway, so spoiler warnings for this episode include the original 6 Star Wars movies and the Clone Wars. So, the Jedi, they were emotionless robots, and due to their negligence of the Chosen One's mental health and difficulty dealing with his emotions, they were just asking for Anakin to turn to the dark side. Why I think that Anakin was one of the most effective Jedis is the fact that he had the ability to get angry, hate people, and get scared. He didn't bother to suppress any of his emotions, no matter, how many times the Jedi told them to. So, by him getting angry and hating people and all that, let me explain what I mean. When Yoda says that fear leads to anger, which leads to hate, which then leads to suffering, it is technically correct. I mean, if I'm a soldier and I'm scared we're gonna get attacked, I'm probably gonna be angry at the enemy. I'll probably even hate them because of that, or I already hated them before, and in turn I'll take action against them, like starting an attack or something. And that bit, taking action against them, that classifies as suffering. And that's why Anakin was effective. He took action. Granted, everyone else did take action, but he was a little bit more of an adrenaline junkie, which actually did help everyone out. I mean, seriously, I'm glad he's a war criminal and all that. For example, in Clone Wars Season 2, Episode 8, titled Brain Invaders, when Ahsoka is on the cargo ship and she contacts Anakin's ship, telling him about the situation with the parasite worms and the fact that they're possessing clones, I can make an educated guess that he is literally scared for her. Because, I mean, it's your close friend. I mean, we're talking about Ahsoka and Anakin. Like, they're, like, literally siblings at this point. Like, maybe not completely at that point, but they're close friends at that point. And the fact is, like, your close friend is in a life-threatening crisis, so yeah, he's probably scared for her. And he's also pissed at Poggle. I mean, he probably hates him as well, because why not? Granted, Poggle didn't start the conflict, but the fact is, Poggle is a separatist and clearly his enemy. And to be honest, I think he was in line with that one woman who was using the worms a lot, so he knew about it. So yeah, that made him an asset. Because of this, though, Anakin was violently interrogating Poggle to get the information. This is the suffering part, and guess what? His strategy worked. That right there is an effective way of him being motivated by his emotions, and man, it was pretty damn effective. Best war criminal ever. Plus, the fact that Anakin had compassion and empathy for others made him more effective. It was also a little bit of a major weakness for him, but it did technically make him a better soldier, and I think the pros of him having compassion and empathy have definitely outweighed the cons. Yeah, that is true. He would sometimes jeopardize a mission, but it wasn't really too bad. Another thing I need to say though, I mean, like, he's a good soldier, but the problem is he's technically a Jedi, and the Jedi, they're peacekeepers. They shouldn't be doing a soldier's job. I mean, that's like asking Master Chief from Halo to do an ambassador's job. Look, he's a great character and all that, but the fact is, Master Chief is a soldier and maybe a war criminal. I'm not completely sure about that. Maybe he is, who knows. The fact is that it isn't his job to keep the peace. It's the job of the politicians and whoever else keeps the peace in political crap. Obi-Wan was right when he said that he wasn't brave enough for politics. I mean, I agree with him. I don't really like to talk about my political opinions on this channel. Unless they're my political opinions about Star Wars. Anyway, I also want to say that the Jedi are massive hypocrites. First of all, the fact that they're peacekeepers doing a soldier's job. No wonder people like Dooku, Krell, Anakin, and Barriss, and probably several others, turn to the dark side. Out of all of these that I mentioned, though, Pong Krell sucks. If you go against the 501st pre-Order 66, you're a jerk. Do not betray Rex and everyone. If you've seen the Umbara arc in Clone Wars Season 4, or if you're on r/prequel memes, you know what I'm talking about. I'm glad Dogma shot him. One more thing I want to talk about is how they turned their backs on Ahsoka in the final few episodes of Season 5. This, my friends, is basically the Jedi kissing up to the politicians. Literal corruption. The Jedi were doing a soldier's job during the Clone Wars, so I mean, yeah, that's technically contradicting the fact that they're peacekeepers, but look, if you're doing a soldier's job, then you shouldn't be politically involved. Like, I mean, Master Chief, he's a soldier, he isn't politically involved. Another thing is, I mean, like, look, I just respect Ahsoka's decision to leave the Jedi Council and live her life. Honestly, I think it definitely turned out better for her. By the way, Disney, Ahsoka is better than Rey. By the way, for any of you guys watching, if you do want to see my analysis on why Rey sucks, then click on the I. Anyway, so, let's go back to the Jedi. The line that made me realize that they were pulling this crap for political interest is when Mace Windu says, I understand your sentiment, Obi-Wan, but if the Council does as you suggest, it could be seen as an act of opposition against the Senate, during Season 5, Episode 20, about a minute and 50 seconds into the episode. Props to Obi-Wan and Plo Koon and Anakin for wanting to stand their ground and support Ahsoka. If the Senate asks you to go against your group's own beliefs, stand your freaking ground and oppose them. I thought the Jedi were a team. I thought they looked out for each other, but no, they're politically absorbed hypocrites. I'll never understand why they were against attachments either. Look, I can understand that if you're a soldier, you don't jeopardize a mission to save something or someone you're attached to. If you just can't jeopardize a mission for that. And that is true. Anakin did have a little bit of an issue with this. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna lie. But the fact is that the Jedi were just against all attachments whatsoever. Honestly, though, I mean, to be fair, even if they're technically supposed to be the peacekeepers, the Jedi, and having attachments isn't even going to affect that a whole lot anyway. I mean, I can keep the peace of a fight going on and still be attached to things, okay? I have people that I care about and all that. Like, they're people I care about. I'm technically attached to them. And, yeah, I can still keep the peace of an argument. Okay, one more thing. Relationships. Why the hell does it matter if you're a Jedi and you're in a romantic relationship? Guys, not everyone is aromantic. You can't force someone to be aromantic, just like how you can't force someone to be in a relationship. If you do either of those, you're a jerk. Also, how badly is it going to affect your ability to keep the peace or fight if you have a romantic relationship with someone? I mean, the Jedi, they probably have to be trained well to be able to keep the peace effectively, so technically a romantic relationship shouldn't really be negatively affecting them anyway. As for the fighting part, they're really not supposed to be doing it if they're peacekeepers. I mean, come on though. We have people in the military who are married, have family, have kids, have loved ones, have relationships. And guess what? Most of them can actually still do an effective job at whatever their objective is. And again, as far as keeping the peace, I don't think getting married to someone will hinder your ability to do that. It just doesn't make sense. There might be an explanation for why the Jedi had these rules in a book or something, but I don't really recall them really going in depth and explaining to Anakin why these rules are there and why he should follow them. Based on Anakin's awkward relationship with the Jedi, it just doesn't seem like he was really given valid reasons as to why these rules are there. Please correct me if I'm wrong about this. I haven't really read too many Star Wars books, so please leave a comment if I'm wrong about it, and maybe mention a few of the Star Wars books. Another major point I have to add is Anakin's mental health. That part definitely did ruin his performance as a soldier and peacekeeper. Anakin was clearly struggling internally, and his trust was broken countless times by the Jedi. He was trying to keep his wife alive, he got tangled into the political crap, and this resulted in him losing his temper, failing to cope with his anger, and that just resulted in him turning to the dark side, since, to be honest, the only person who really had left was Padme, and he just needed to save her, and, honestly, it just seemed like the best bet for him. The Jedi essentially just told them to ignore and control his emotions. I think Obi-Wan said something similar to that as well. But Obi-Wan is a little bit more approachable. The fact that the Jedi were just telling him to ignore and control his emotions, I think it's just a major red flag that they're idiots. It's very difficult to control your emotions. Impossible, even. I'm giving you my personal testimony on this since I have emotions. You probably do too, unless you're like an alien or something. If someone betrays me and breaks my trust, I can't really control how mad I am. I can, however, control how I cope with it, but I can't make the actual feeling of anger go away. Anakin getting pissed off was great. It helped him accomplish the mission, and man, it was fun to watch. But he was also dealing with a lot of stress and anger, and the problem was he needed to learn to cope with those emotions in a healthy way whenever he was on the battlefield. Because when he was on the battlefield, his way of coping was getting violent on the enemy, which isn't a bad thing. It helped him, and it helped the mission. He needed someone to help him. He needed someone approachable and to teach him how to cope with all this. Seriously, the Jedi could have either been approachable for Anakin to talk to, or they could have paid for him to go to therapy or something. Because of the Jedi's obvious neglect of people's mental health, I now pronounce them Facebook idiots. If they were on Earth, they would be spreading crap over how mental health issues are not real all over Facebook. And then screenshots of all that would get posted to r/facepalm and people would laugh at it. I also want to bet that Anakin was probably dealing with burnout as well during all this. I mean, there's so much war, fighting, personal drama, and political crap. It was just interfering with him too much. He just couldn't look out for himself. I mean, in the Clone Wars Season 1, Episode 5, at this timestamp, Obi-Wan calls out Anakin for not sleeping, or at least not getting enough sleep, and Anakin responds with how he'll sleep after finding Grievous. I can make an educated guess that he was only getting more and more sleep deprived as the series progressed, since the war became more intense. He may have literally just not slept and just, drank coffee all the time or something. This part about him dealing with burnout, it isn't completely the fault of the Jedi, since Anakin may have been deciding to work overtime more often, but it definitely wasn't good for his mental health, and the problem is because this was something that was happening to him, and the fact that the Jedi weren't really, helping him too much, it just contributed to all this crap. It is really important to know that the Jedi are not badly written characters. I think the point of the Jedi to be idiots was exactly for people to understand Anakin's fall and the political crap surrounding this era of Star Wars. I love the prequels and Clone Wars, and writing this analysis was really fun. As always, I do not mean to offend anyone watching this video. Also, since I've mentioned mental health a few times in this video, please look out for yourself and your mental health and get help if you need to, especially since we're in a pandemic and we're surrounded by political crap, homework, jobs, and other random stuff. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next week. Bye!